And these are really cool. These are 3 boxes from a guy named Scott Helmke. They're called Lav Amps. So.
It's good to have you back for another What's in Your Kit video, where we look at the tools and gear that have earned a home in your gig bag or Pelican case. If you'd like to be in a future episode, head over to DcSoundOp.com/submit your kit for the details. It's super easy, and I'd love to have you on the channel. This week, we've got theater sound specialist and sound designer Ryan Cooper on to show us the different kits that he's put together for general work, as well as some special tasks like theatrical mic rigging. I was thinking of breaking this one up into multiple episodes since there is so much included, but instead you can find timestamps down in the description below so you can jump around to the different segments. I hope you'll give a real warm welcome to Ryan Cooper as he joins us on the channel today.
Hi, my name is Ryan Cooper. I am a sound designer, sound engineer, and system designer based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I work primarily in theater, but I also do some work in live music at a local performing arts center too, as well as some corporate AV and some special events. I'm also a student at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts for sound design, in addition to my professional work. Kevin McCoy, who is the head audio for Hamilton, San Francisco, and I just did a webinar on specifically theatrical mic rigging, and you can find that at my website, which is coopersounddesign.com. All right, so first up here is my Blue Pelican. This contains sort of general audio tools. So first thing I got here is a multimeter, then a just general tape measure. These are some various microphone or transmitter belt clips. I have one for a 5012 because I own a couple of 5012s, and Shure ULX, ULXT, QLXT, and iFixit ProTech Toolkit. This has just got some pry tools, some tweezers, some small screwdrivers for fixing small electronics and that sort of stuff. This is a thing called a Pocket Ethernet, which is an Ethernet checker verifier. It does wire map, cable verification, cable length checking, all that sort of stuff. It does some functions built in, and then it also does a lot more functions when you connect it to the phone app that it mates with. All right, next I have a trim tape, just a fiberglass tape measure. This one is in decimal feet as opposed to inches, which is really useful for working with measurements out of a lot of the popular array calculation software. So I work with primarily D&B, and this is really useful for trimming arrays with what that software puts out. Next, just a roll of 1-inch mic tape, just in case. All right, this is just a couple of cables here. This is an 1/8 inch to RCA cable, which I use this either on its own or with some adapters from here to go to 1/4 inch. And then it has just a lightning to 1/8 inch on it for coming out of new iPhones and iPads and stuff. Here is just a little 1/8 inch headphone extension with a little clip. They use it a lot in pits for musicians. Here is the lock for this Pelican, and I don't use it as much as I probably should. Some shows warrant using it, so it just depends. All right, next here is just a headlamp. This one's very bright. It does white, little wider and narrower white, and then it also has a red, I believe, yeah. Next under that is this case with various sort of microphone element accessories for when I don't have the other case with me. There's some windscreens, bobby pins, toupee clips, a couple little lavalier clips. And I have this little wireless access point from GLNet that I found to be really nice. It's short little thing, got these cute little antennas, and it's got 3 ports on the back, so it functions as a little switch, and then just the micro USB power cable and power brick. All right, then I have a Leica D5 disto. This one's really nice because it goes up to 650 feet, which is really useful for some larger convention center and some of the larger theater work. All right, this is a little Behringer cable tester. I recently found out the one that this is knocked off of, so I feel bad for owning this one. I do plan to buy a more name brand one. The one I'm really looking at is the Whirlwind because it does Ethercon pin checking. This is just a Whirlwind Q box. I think most of us know what this does, but lifesaver, couldn't go without it. Then next I have a bunch of mic bags here. The first one just contains switched 835, which is really useful for talkback mics, for God mics. The next, these contain various tools and stuff. The first one is a soldering kit. So it's got a soldering iron, a box cutter, some picks for picking out like the wire shielding, sucker, a pair of small wire strippers, and some solder. The next is just a few screwdrivers, a fixed number 2 screwdriver, and one of the Klein just multi-bit screwdrivers. Next is just a set of speed outs for any screw heads that are stripped out. I have only ever used this once, but I keep it in here just in case. A couple little Shure tweakers. This is a Sennheiser Evo service tool is what they call it. It's for tightening the little locking nut around the 1/8" connectors on Sennheiser Evolution packs. It's just a little glow screwdriver that if it has voltage on it, it'll glow in this little light here. I don't use it a ton now that I have these checkers, which we'll see in a second, but I still keep it in there. In this one, it's just some assorted pliers, nippers, small needle nose pliers, all that good stuff. In this one, I have a bunch of different USB stuff. So Lightning to USB, Lightning to USB-C, USB card reader, a USB-A or Lightning to USB-A adapter, a couple power bricks, some micro USB and USB-B cables, and then there's a little USB lamp that can plug into the power bricks and just be used as a light. Below those, I keep just a few cables, so an Ethernet cable, little slim HDMI cable, and a Thunderbolt cable. This is just a pair of front of house headphones, Sennheiser HD280s, which are great, very isolated front of house headphones. And these are really cool. These are 3 boxes from a guy named Scott Helmke. They're called Lav Amps, so they just have the lav mic input connectors on the side. So I have one for Shure TA4, one for Shure and Sennheiser 3-pin LEMO, and then one for Sennheiser Evo 1/8", and then they just have a little volume knob and a headphone connector. So these are really useful for listening and checking that elements are good without having to have a spare wireless system powered on and making RF. Next up, some tools up here. Just a set of metric and standard Allen keys. Really useful. These have these little tether things, which are nice if you're ever working at height and need to tether them. Then I have 2 actually just voltage checkers for checking if there's voltage on a line or in an outlet. Then here is just a plug checker just for checking that outlets are good and have ground and all that good stuff. The next is 2 little pairs of cutters. So this is just a little pair of Hakko flush cuts, which are really useful for cutting zip ties. And then here is a pair of Fiskars little nippers. So they're really good for cutting Hellerman sleeves, which I'll show you guys in a second. Next up here, to start, I have some Y cables, both from female to double male and male to double female. Mostly used for comm splitting. I don't find myself using it for anything else too often, but I have pairs of them just in case. This is just a mini jack to XLR male cable for house music or any stuff like that. Here's a pair of XLR ground lift adapters. I don't use them a ton because they don't really do a whole ton in a lot of situations, and I sort of frown upon them. I'm looking to get something like a Sescom IL-19 or one of the Whirlwind or Radial isolators, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. These are 2 what's called a tone plug and a noise plug. So they you plug them into an XLR that's getting phantom power, and they'll make tone. This one does it at various frequencies and patterns, and then or pink noise. So really useful. Next in here, I just have a few little knickknacks. So these are some little caps for protecting the ends of wireless microphone capsules. A few batteries. My supply is going a little low. Just a carabiner, just in case if I ever need it, it's come handy. Just some twist ties, which are really useful for dealing with mic elements and that sort of stuff. Just a bottle of ibuprofen, just in case you get a headache or anything. This goes with the multimeter, and it's just a little checker that you plug in if you ever need to check a resistor or anything like that. This will tell you the value of it. I just have a couple little key rings, and some 5/8 thread to 3/8 thread adapters for mic stands. And here, this is just various adapters. So to start, I have some Ethercon couplers. I can never have enough of these. They just seem to get used all the time. This is just an Ethernet coupler. I have a few of these in shielded and non-shielded. Then after that, I just have a lot of various adapters. RCA to 1/4 inch. This is actually a USB-C to USB-A adapter. And then pairs of XLR female to female, male to male, 1/4 inch to XLR male, little BNC to RCA for video monitors, which we use a lot for closed circuit video monitoring for musical theater. Just BNC T, a BNC terminator. There's BNC couplers. There's mini jack to 1/4 inch, all that good stuff. And then lastly in here, just a few Sharpies and a pair of scissors. All right, next we're off to the Black Pelican. All right, so next up is my Black Pelican here. This has all supplies related to and for theatrical mic rigging. This is a lot emptier than the other one, but it's all still good, very useful stuff. I feel like I should mention in both of these I have the Trek Pack sort of adjustable system from Pelican, and I really like it, and I've rearranged it more times than I can count. So it was definitely worth the money, although it was very expensive. I also have the lid organizers for both of them. If you're curious about how any of this stuff is used, I just did a webinar with Kevin McCoy, who's head of sound for Hamilton, San Francisco, about all sorts of theatrical mic rigging techniques. So you can find that on my website, which is just coopersounddesign.com, and I'm sure that we can link that in the description on my YouTube channel, which is just marked under Cooper Sound Design. You can watch that webinar if you're curious about how any of this works. All right, so to start down here, I have a bunch of different sort of DPA cases filled with different things. So these are makeup protector covers for DPA 4060s, Mickey 2s and Mickey 1s. These are just a couple of assorted clips and windscreens that didn't fit in these boxes, which I'll show you in a second, for Countryman B6s. And then these are the same thing, but for B3s. And then in this, I just have, it sort of just ended up in here, even though they're not really for actor mic rigging, but these are just some violin mounts for DPA 4060s, and they also work for a lot of different elements. And then in here, I have, there's also another bag of these. These are little hair clips, which are really useful for cable managing wireless microphone cables, especially when you have all the transmitters out on a table. These can be really useful to keep those element cables nice and orderly. So next up here, this is sort of the tape category. I also have a box of skin prep for preparing, for wiping sweat off skin and that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to have a box of the Remove, which is a adhesive remove for skin, in here soon. Then here I have just various rolls of tape. Usually I'm a little better stocked with some new tape in here as well, but I've been running low lately and I hadn't had a chance to refill. Here's just a few more of those little hair clips for organization. And here is a full-size tape dispenser, which is used for putting tape over. We use electrical tape, and then we put an Avery label on top for to put the actor name and character name, and then this piece of clear tape over all that to make it a little bit water resistant and more durable. So that is what this tape dispenser is for. It also comes in handy for putting tape on Aviom channel and P16 channel labels, as well as M7 channel labels if I ever have an M7 for a show. And here we do, there's just some extra. We use shoe bags with, and they have Velcro on each of the spots in the shoe bag. So we put a label over here with the person's name and the character name and the transmitter number, and those stick on. So these are just some extra of the little stick-on things, just in case I need an extra one. Here, there's a few different types of elastic, just black. This one's a little thinner than this one, and brown, which are useful for making toupee clips and making what are called halos to hold microphones on people's hair. More about that in that webinar on my YouTube channel if you're interested. This is a cartridge of tape for that tape dispenser. Here is moleskin, which is useful for wrapping around elements to prevent sweat from getting into them. Can also be useful for film, for reducing noise on a microphone, like movement noise from clothing. Just an empty bag. These are just some some toupee clips that are waiting to be made. I'll show you the finished ones in a second. I think that is about it for in here. And then there's this, this is a belt clip actually from an OtterBox, case that I keep in here because for one of the regional companies that I do shows for a couple times a year, one of the ASMs named Rapunzel uses this as the strap for her Free Speak belt pack and really likes it, so I keep it in here for her. This is a Hellerman sleeve tool, which is used to stretch Hellerman sleeves, which I'll show you in a second, to make those microphone rigs. Okay, then here are some organizers that I have that hold some small parts that are useful for microphones. The first of which being some ear rigs. I have them all labeled to what goes in which. And this also has some extra things in it, so it holds these ear rigs. I have another box actually here with more of the Telex ear loops to make ear rigs. Just some lapel mounts for microphones. These are some cable clips just to sort of do a cable strain relief on the back of the neck. Windscreens, and then just some various sizes of heat shrink just in case I need them. Then this one is all sorts of high boost caps for different makes and models of microphones, flat caps. I also have just a couple of makeup protectors thrown in there, and then I have the little guides in here pulled off of some B6 bags to show me the length so that I can sort of measure those up. The next, this contains all of the Hellerman sleeves, so a couple of different sizes, as well as the lubricant that's made by Hellerman. Even though I don't use this often, I use soapy water more often, which you can find more on that in that webinar. Here's just some extra organizers, or some extra little slots for these organizers. Yeah. Here is just a few of the toupee clips. I sort of outgrew this, but it holds the larger ones that I don't use very often. And I'll show you the smaller ones that I use more often in a second. In the very bottom of here, and I actually have two of them, but one sort of slid under, is just a rat tail comb for helping run microphone wires through people's hair. Then here I have E-tape containers that have all sorts of different types of toupee clips in them for holding microphones in people's hair. So it's just got the 5 different colors all ready to go. And here I have a couple rolls of electrical tape. I usually have every color in here, but I ended up putting them in a work box and I haven't restocked them yet. Here is a roll of 3M Tegaderm tape, which is useful for people that don't respond so well to the transport that I had earlier. It's a little bit more clear, so I keep that just in case. In this box, this point source box, I have some point source ear rigs. I only have a few of these. I have a lot more of the Telex because they're very expensive, but I bought a few and they're a really good option for quickly making an ear rig, or a lot of times they're more comfortable, so I have a few of them and I sort of use them sparingly. All right, then up here I have the same set of nippers and cutters, which are these cutters are useful for cutting this floral wire and for the Hellerman sleeves, and as are these useful for the Hellerman sleeves. Then in here I have that floral wire to make microphone ear rigs. As I said, you can find more about all that on that YouTube channel. And then some more colors of floral wire and some key rings, just because I tend to keep those around. Then in here I have just a bag of alcohol swabs for cleaning tape residue. I try to avoid using these on skin, but they're useful for cleaning it off microphone elements, cleaning all sorts of tape off of different stuff. Then this is just a smaller bag, which I use for microphone elements, both for storage sometimes, but often so I can put a bad microphone element, since they break pretty common in theater, or pretty often in theater. So I can put a bad one in here and mark what's wrong with it, and send it back to the shop, or if they're mine, back home, and know what the issue was. And then lastly in here, some scissors and some Sharpies. I made these sleeves out of moldable thermoplastic that hold the, if I could get them out, that hold the scissors, because the scissors open and close every once in a while, and they started putting these holes in my Pelican lid organizers. So I made these sleeves for the scissors that keep that from happening. All right, well that's it for this Pelican, and now we'll move on to the backpack. All right, so next up is my backpack. This is an eBags Professional Flight. I used to have a Professional Slim, but I wanted some more space, maybe for some overnight clothes. and just more stuff in general. So I went for the flight. These bags are pretty affordable for me bags, and they're really good quality. They almost always have coupons on them. This is the completely full, everything that I would ever possibly carry in it. A lot of times I try and minimize depending on where I'm going and what I know I'll need, because it can get pretty heavy with all the stuff in it. All right, so to start, in the back pocket here, I carry a 16-inch MacBook Pro. This comes with me almost everywhere. It's for personal work as well as QLab for shows, some video playback for shows. All that fun stuff is done on here. Next, I carry a Windows laptop as well. This is a Lenovo X1 Yoga. I really like it because it does the flip all the way around. So I use this for in live shows for system processing software, for networking softwares, and then in offline things like IIS, things that are other things that are PC only, like some of the console editors. Sometimes it's just really nice to have a dedicated PC for. Ease, it's another thing that it's really great to have this for. So I really like having the dedicated PC. And then I also have Boot Camp on my Mac, just in case I don't have this with me. In the next pocket here, it starts out with a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I use this primarily for scripts, for musicals, and then I have a page flip pedal app that goes with it that makes this a really nice tool to have. And next I have a regular iPad Air. I use this one a lot more for console apps, and having the two is really important because sometimes I'll have someone will be mixing off of my script and I'll still want to do remote console editing. So so having this iPad as well is really important for that workflow. Here is just a notebook. It's from my school, which is UNC School of the Arts. Next down here I have two chargers. One of the Apple 98-watt USB-C chargers for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then this is a 60-watt USB-C charger, which I bought as a second for my old 13-inch MacBook Pro, and then I kept to go with the X1 Yoga. This is an MX Master wireless mouse in a case, which I really like for mobile productivity. All right, then sort of up here in these slots, in the top, I carry a lot of various USB cables and adapters. So this is actually a Thunderbolt 3 to Thunderbolt 2 adapter. Then this is a multi-port USB-C dock, so it's got HDMI, VGA, gigabit Ethernet, some card readers, and some USB full-size ports, as well as a power pass-through. Two actually USB-C to USB-A adapters, which are useful for shows, for thumb drives, for devices, all that fun stuff. This is just a USB-C to USB-A cable. Two of them actually to go with hard drives and stuff, and then a USB-C to USB-C cable to also go with hard drives, which you'll see in a second. This is just a shielded Ethernet coupler, which is sort of like a last-ditch effort to have in here, just in case I need another one. I find going from like a front-of-house bundle to a pit bundle, sometimes I'm a little short in some of the smaller productions I do, so having this is definitely really useful. All right, so in the starting in the bottom here, I have a 4 terabyte just spinning hard disk drive for any large files. I keep a pretty comprehensive sound effects library on here, so I have that accessible to me wherever I am. In here, I have two different portable SSDs. They're actually both 512 or 500 gigabyte SSDs, and then there's one more USB-C to USB-C cable in the pouch to go with these. So then next in this top front compartment here, I carry a pair of Bose QC35s. And then in the front here, I really love the organization space that this gives me. To start, in the top corner here, I just carry some business cards. And then here, there's just a cleaning cloth to clean off computer screens, console screens, all that good stuff. I have some assorted flash drives up here, just some sort of junky ones that are just sort of nice and old to use with consoles. This is one that I got at Infocom from Countryman. So just some older ones that for some pickier consoles are nice to have. This one actually keeps a macOS Mojave bootable installer on it, just in case I ever need to reflash a computer, which is something that happens more than I'd like to admit. And here I have a double-ended USB flash drive with USB-A and USB-C on it. I have a little bit more rugged one of these that I keep on my keys as well. And then just some 32 gig utility sort of USB A 3.0 flash drives. Next up in here, I keep an iLock. This just has Pro Tools on it, a couple of plugins on it, a backup pair of headphones, just in case. I would hate to be traveling and have forgotten or my headphones to be dead, so these are just some hardwired headphones. There's an inhaler. I've actually never used this particular one, but I have it just in case because I have had a history of asthma. A couple little things that have sort of snuck their way into here. I only ever really intended for maybe one of these adapters to end up in here, but 4 made their way, and then I also have just a little 5/8 to 3/8 thread adapter that snuck in here. These are 2 little pieces of P-Touch tape that just have my logo on them. So if I'm ever leaving something of mine on a job site and I have not already marked it, I'm sure that you could see that I've been pretty thorough about marking all my stuff, but sometimes I discover something that I haven't marked. I keep these just in case so that I can always mark something as mine. Okay, so back here there's a couple of different things. So to start off, this is a power bank. Then I have a couple of just power bricks here. One of the new 18-watt USB-C ones from Apple, and then one of the older 5-watt ones. It's actually a knockoff one. And then a lightning to USB-C and lightning to USB-A to go with those. A USB-A to micro USB for charging the battery pack and any other things. And then this is a pair of AirPods Pros. I've been sort of on the fence because I got these after I got the QC35s and the backpack, but these are they're super convenient, and I really like them primarily for the convenience factor. But they don't sound as good as the QC35s, but I'm finding that I prefer these AirPods Pros. There's just an ID badge from the places I work, and just a sticker that got sort of shoved in there, and just some assorted a pen and some pencils and a Sharpie. And then this is the Apple Pencil that goes with my iPad Pro for taking notes, for writing on scripts. For that, it's priceless. So that is all. Right, thank you guys for joining. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing what I carry around with me. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments and I'll try to look at that. Or you can email me at soundcooper@gmail.com. If you're at all interested in seeing my work, you can find that at coopersounddesign.com.
Now that's an incredible amount of gear that Ryan is able to get into those cases, and another really well organized setup there using those Trek Pack divider systems. Really, really nice, and everybody that has them seems to say they are well worth the money. The Theatrical mic rigging kit was really interesting, I thought, to see up close. I think it's fascinating personally the amount of work that goes into making those special rigs up, not only so that they're comfortable for the talent, but that they're reliable and repeatable for dozens of shows over and over again, with a ton of cast members these days needing mics for every show. I think it's a really unique art that allows whoever is mixing the show the consistency they need each performance, and I appreciate Ryan showing us a little bit of what goes into that here. Check out what Ryan's doing next at coopersounddesign.com and Cooper Sound Design on YouTube. Again, link down in the description. I hope you all keep sending in these great videos for this series. It's a lot of fun. Visit DcSoundOp.com/submit your kit to find out the details. Huge thank you to those of you who support this channel through Patreon. I really do appreciate it, and I'll be back really soon with more videos.